Welcome back, gang, to Nopes and Opes. I'm joined by my lovely co-host, Hylan.
Yeah.
And we are enjoying some late night tea. We're coming to the end of the day here on Sunday.
Yeah, we're definitely coming to the end of the day.
And we're feeling very thankful for some people in our life. And specifically, we want to give a huge shout out to one of our biggest supporters, my biggest supporter in life, Faja. It is my Faja's birthday, and he has said a lot to me about the podcast and given a lot of influence and provided for me in a lot of ways while I've moved home. And we just want to give an appreciation to start with him, and then we're going to go down and thank some other people in our life that have kind of helped us in this last year.
Yeah, I mean, it come like, I think just the amount of support that I've seen from that man, and I mean your mom too. I don't mean to not include her as well, but the amount of support that I've just seen personally in these few visits that I've made to Peoria, and I mean the amount of support that he's offered me, and the amount of kind of confidence and conversations and just camaraderie and I mean, he didn't really have to welcome me in at all, and I think it's been I feel really lucky to like have the conversations and the kind of insights and the willingness to share that your father's shown to me. And yeah, I think I value that relationship quite a bit. And I mean, one of the things that I was most excited about in the break, the holiday break, was coming here just to kind of check in, because I know things have been difficult for you and your family, and especially your dad. Like, he's really, really gone through some pretty significant transitions and changes, and just really life has challenged in a huge way.
Gonna have to blur.
Well, I don't know why Lancelot, buddy. Like, that's so crazy.
This is not the appropriate time, my friend.
Yeah,
I know
man.
you want to clean, but come on.
So yeah, I really appreciate this opportunity, and hopefully we can adequately express our gratitude, our thanks, our appreciation, and really communicate how much the dude has done for both of us.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And just, a big old happy birthday for you, buddy. I love you. And thanks for putting your input in the podcast. And, I mean, there's a lot more I could say, but overall, thank you. And we love you. Alongside my dad that we want to thank, just in this past year, we've gotten a lot of support from a lot of people in our lives that I think we just want to take a moment to kind of just thank all the people. I have a few people that I can name off. I'm sure you got a few people. To start, I actually have a fun story that I wanted to share with you. That
is throwing me off right now. I can't handle it.
Sorry, guys. For you audio listeners, Lance is actively cleaning himself on the table in between us. I don't think it's on the camera that bad, but it could be. Who knows? I might have to blur that section of the screen. So Ricky Smith. I want to give a big shout out to Ricky Smith.
Oh man, you made a list?
No, I'm going to show you something. I pulled something out up on my phone, but Ricky has been on a very when I was starting the podcast, Ricky, I think, also went through a big transition period in his life and has started to do a lot of things. And recently, in the past 4 months, he actually came to Peoria and we got to see each other and hang out.
Nice.
And it was just really great just to kind of catch up with him. It had been the first time I'd seen him since college. So it had been, 4 years. So it was kind of weird. I'm bald now.
Yeah.
And he had dreads. So I was like, whoa, this is cool.
Yeah.
Both of us having sick hairstyles.
Yeah.
And so while I was talking with him, he just he really embodied a lot of the things we talked about on the podcast. He bought a van. He's been living in the van and traveling around and really just gone on his own adventure, and is treating life tomorrow I could die, so I might as well have fun today. And it was very whoa, fulfilling, right? And part of the thing he has is he has a guitar that he carries around with him, and he drives. And people have been writing like sayings that are important to them on the guitar.
Okay.
And I got to put something on the guitar.
Oh, you. Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
And for you audio listeners, the picture says, congratulations, you're a human. I'll put it on the video.
Okay.
Congratulations, you're a human being, which, as you guys know, is a big saying that we talk a lot about on here. And it just was a really cool experience. And I got a lot of love for Ricky, super supportive of the podcast, super supportive of the things I've gone through. And, you know, I had talked about one episode, Sphere of Influence, where I'm talking specifically about the lacrosse team. And he was on the lacrosse team, and he had messaged me after it and just had a lot of like really nice things to say and very supportive. And he's one of the people that I just like really feel like I got to give a huge shout out to and a lot of thanks for all that he's done for me in my life.
Well, and he actually made some incredible videos. I think he was maybe one of the people in the beginning that really kind of gave us a little bit of inspiration and a little bit of like, hey, we're actually doing this, because he like the videos that he put together, man, I think we gave him a little bit of credit and appreciation before, but those videos were awesome, man. Like if you listen to this, if you watch, yeah, those videos were stellar. I watched those and was blown away. They were really, really well done and really professional, and kind of gave me a glimpse of maybe where we could get to, and kind of like the style and kind of the vibe that we were going for. So
yeah,
is vibe a word that the kids are using these days?
Oh yeah, big time.
God, I wish.
Well, I mean, everyone uses it.
I wish they weren't.
I think it's a good word to sum up, just kind of like a feeling between you and another, you know?
Yeah.
The vibe.
Yeah. But no, I think he really, he did a great job in capturing things and kind of showing me like where I'd kind of like to go.
Yeah.
So, sorry. Yeah. I just want to say huge appreciation to Ricky.
And in one of the most recent episodes, I gave a shout out, but another shout out to my buddy, Greg Boyer. Greg has been super supportive of what we do on the podcast and just me as an individual. And when I moved back home to Peoria, been my ride or die buddy. Sadly, he has moved to Chicago. I lost my boy. But you know, we talk all the time, call. He's doing big things out there, and I'm really excited to see what he's gonna do. And you know, maybe I'll see him soon when I possibly move.
No, I think he's showing you the path.
Yeah, no, he is. And just like, he sent me like a super nice text on New Year's, and it's just really supportive of like all my creative goals, and I'm supportive of his, and it's just really nice to have those kind of people in your corner.
Yeah. Yeah. No, Greg, I met that dude once, and that was all I needed. That's a solid dude right there. Yeah, I would have liked to have the opportunity to hang out with him a little bit more, maybe in a different setting. But yeah, I appreciate the support. I mean, supporting Rowan in a way is supporting me as well, and I feel like that's a dude that really will go to the ends of the earth for you. And those kind of people are ultimately like the most special and the most valuable for anyone. And
like we said, like with 2025 being kind of the year of connection for us on the podcast and personally, like that when I moved back home, like the connection that I have with Ricky and with Greg just like deepened so much, and it was such like a positive thing that I'm like, oh, I gotta hold on to these connections, like because you can easily let those go and not catch up and get wrapped up in your own stuff. But like I'm making it adamant to be like, no, can't let these guys go. Yeah. Do you have anyone you'd like to thank?
Oh man, yeah, I have my list is longer.
Well, I was thinking we'd do one and then I'd go, but then I did two and you didn't throw it in, so I'm thinking, like you say one, then I'll say one, you say one, then I say one. That's okay. What I was kind of open.
A little back
the
and forth.
The flow would be.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry to give you the behind the scenes look of.
Not up to date on the flow. Okay. So I, um, so I before I was came to Peoria, I was in Colorado, and I just want to say a huge appreciation to my family. I had the best holiday that I've ever had, and I got to spend time with my mom, with my dad, with my brother, and with one of my sisters, and it was just it was just an incredible time. But I don't even know if Heather, my sister, or her husband Brad will listen to this or ever get this message. I might just have to tell them that I said this, but they throughout the years, they have been super supportive, and Brad especially. Like my family doesn't listen to any of this. Like they're just like, whatever. That's Highland just spouting his nonsense. But Brad actually does pay attention to some of the things that I do, and will once in a while just surprise me and be like, "Yeah, like I read your blog the other day and you said this," and I was like, "What? Like really?" But he and my sister have just throughout the years have really like they celebrated their 25th, 24th, 26th wedding anniversary on December 31st. And it's just, I'm amazed. So Brad has been in my life for that long at least. And they've been an amazing force for good for me and the sounding board. Like we've had amazing conversations, and a lot of the things that I talk about, a lot of the realizations, any sort of knowledge have come from some of the conversations that I've had with them. And so, in that regard, I owe those two a huge amount, not just for knowledge, but for emotional support. For like I stay at their house constantly, and the way that I work is I'll just show up. Like I'll tell you, like in June, I'll say, okay, yeah, I'm going to be out there December 24th. And then I'll just expect you to remember it. And then December 24th, I'll just be like an hour out. And I'll be like, okay, by the way, guys, I'll be there in an hour. And that kind of freaks Brad out. Like he needs a
Yeah.
little bit of notice, and like he likes to know what your schedule is and stuff. And I think in a lot of ways I drive him crazy, but at the same time we get along really, really well. And I absolutely have love for that dude. And so yeah, that's that like though my sister and her husband Brad, and then my mom, like she does not listen. I actually told you the story, but she's like, yeah, Highland, because I was like, Mom, like you do not listen to the podcast. And she's like, what are you talking about? I totally listen. Like when I'm doing the dishes or when I'm like doing the laundry or whatever, I totally turn it on. And she's like, I'm already on episode 4. And I'm like, Mom, there's 50 episodes. And she's like, oh, well, okay, maybe it's not the greatest support, but I still support you. I'm like, oh, okay. All right, Mom. But no, she has been a rock solid force in my life. And I owe that woman everything. And I just appreciate the chance, every chance I get to go hang out with her. And we play Rummy Cube almost every night. We finished up Peaky Blinders this season, which was, man, if you haven't seen Peaky Blinders, you got to watch that show, man. Thomas Shelby, he's the man. But yeah, like, so my whole family, though, I feel really lucky. I have actually improved my relationship with my family, and the relationship has been super, it has had a huge effect on who I am today. And like I don't know if I would have been able to survive in another family, but for whatever reason, the people in my family allowed me to make the mistakes that I made and allowed me to take the paths that I took, even though they were shaking their head, just like, this dude's gonna drive me crazy, or he's an idiot, or whatever. And I just feel a huge amount of gratitude, a huge amount of thanks, and just a huge amount of love for everyone in my family.
Yeah. um, I think I should thank my family too.
Yeah, I kind of said you
Yeah,
like
I love my family so much. They're the best. Like, oh yeah, my family can go to hell. No, yeah, no, my family. I mean, we've always had like a really close relationship, and ever since, like the whole like moving from Minnesota back home, like I've been able to really be there for like my mom and dad because like a lot of just like tough adult stuff has happened,
Oh man,
the loss of loved ones and whatnot. So it's just kind of been nice to have them here with me and me be here with them just to kind of check in on them and whatnot. So they've been extremely supportive, and then Noah and Emmett, my brothers, and also Emma, Noah's fiance, my future sister-in-law. She's awesome. Um, Truly think of her just like as a sister. She's been in my life for about 10 years now.
Oh,
So,
wow.
I mean, yeah, she's awesome. And Emmett has, talked a lot about the podcast. He doesn't listen anymore. I don't know why, but he stopped listening. But like we do have very like philosophical chats and whatnot, and he will be very supportive of what I'm going through, whether it be like relationship stuff and whatnot. Like he is very. We talk a lot about these things, so huge shout out to the family as well.
yeah.
So, and then there's a few people that are kind of like new to the podcast gang. Some of the people I work with at the bar have started to listen. Now they all know that I have a podcast. Literally found out like pretty much this week. Everyone now knows. So we'll see if they all listen. Probably not. That's
Nah.
okay. But if any of you do listen, thanks, gang. I appreciate it. Hopefully things won't be weird at work now. You are experiencing all this stuff. This is Highland, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's one specific person that I work with, Liliana, that I kind of got to become good friends with her when she started working, and we had like a similar experience of like we were both living at home, not really sure what we were gonna do next and whatnot. And there's a funny story where she came to work one day and she's like asking me like, "Oh, where do you live?" And I felt like kind of embarrassed saying I live with my parents. I was like, "Oh yeah, like I live in High Point." She's like, "Oh, like do you have like an apartment, like a house?" I was like, "I live in a house." And she's like, "Do you live like is it your house?" I'm like, "No, I live with my parents." She's like, "Me too." And she was super supportive. And I was like, "Oh, okay, cool. Like we're on the same page." And she's like, "So what do you want to do for a girl?" I was like, "I have no idea." She's like, "Me neither." I'm like, "Awesome. We're on the same page." The worst part is the next day she came into work. She's like, "So Ron, you know how the other day I was talking about like don't have a job and like we're in the same boat?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And she's like, "Well, I got a job and I'm moving to Idaho." And I was like, "Okay, so it's just me living at home with my parents, not
Oh,
being
really?
sure."
No, I
Yeah.
didn't know that.
So she ended up moving to Idaho, but she started to listen to the podcast and had really positive things to say, and has also just been supportive of me. So I just want to give a nice little shout out to Liliana. Maybe you're still listening. I don't know, but it's much appreciated. And thinking of you. Hopefully Idaho's good.
Oh man, yeah. I'm kind of jealous. I'd like to go to Idaho. I will go to Idaho one day for sure.
Good old Boise.
Boise, Idaho. That's one of the fastest growing places in the U.S. It's also one of the most.
Is this one of those moments where you just recite something you might have heard, or is that factual? Because you said it pretty confidently.
No, everything's just something that may or may not be true.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. I wouldn't. If honestly, if I were you, I wouldn't really trust anything that I say.
Well, don't tell the audience that,
Yeah.
please.
All right, just kidding. You can trust everything that I say.
Island's not even a social worker.
Well, I actively
He works at
fight-
McDonald's.
I do fight against it. Like I really, yeah. Oh man, that's a whole nother topic right there for sure. Okay, is it my turn?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've given credit and appreciation and love to this girl before, but she was one of the first to buy the book, and she was a cheerleader in high school, and like she was like the typical cutest cheerleader ever. Like she has just always been a beautiful soul. But I feel like she's getting more and more beautiful like as she gets older. Like I think she's just an awesome person. But her support and just cheerleading and constant just upbeat attitude and just words of encouragement and just always being there, and like whatever we put out, she's always just like, yeah, like just always. And
She's always upset when it's like, I missed this. I'm glad you started putting episodes out again. Like when we took a break, she said
yeah,
that.
and she has just, yeah, like I just could not ask for someone to be more supportive of this effort, and just a huge amount of appreciation, because she was there from the very beginning, and her energy and enthusiasm and support has not diminished in any way. Like everything we do, she's just always all about it, and yeah, it words cannot say enough of appreciation and gratitude. But Erin Crickler Schaefer she is just the best. Like Erin is in a unique. She's a status that, yeah, she's by herself. But like Jennifer Tallman, who I went to school with, also, she's also been very supportive. And Jennifer, no offense to you, but Erin, that girl, nobody competes with her. Like she has gone above and beyond, and she has really pulled me through some doubting times, like what the heck. And Erin was like, no, keep going, and or just said something, or just made some funny comment, or just like made any notice of anything that we're doing. And it's just, yeah, that kind of support, like the TV commercial or whatever, where it's like immeasurable or whatever. Like it's just, there's no way to express how much her support and just optimism has been a benefit to me.
Yeah. And I can also attest, like, I always see her comments, and I've read her emails and seen the things that you sent to Highland. So I also have a huge appreciation. I've never met you, but I appreciate you.
No,
I appreciate it.
someday we will. Like,
Yeah.
Because I grew up in Neenah, and I think Erin and a lot of the crew are still there. And I'm not going to say I would love to. I'm just going to say one day we will show up, and we may or may not record. But I would like you to meet Erin. I would like Erin to meet you, and you'll just her physical presentation will match what you think. Like she's still the same. Yeah.
It'll be interesting because she knows, if she's listened to every episode of the podcast, she'll know so much about me where I'll know little about her. So like she'll know all my dirty laundry, like all the stuff I've been through, and I'll be like, yeah, it's crazy, right?
So, yeah.
Yeah, pretty wild that you know all that. But
Yeah. No, there's, yeah, I in one of the things I'll talk a little bit more about that for sure.
Okay. Yeah, who's next for me? Big appreciation to Lancelot. I think Lance is a beacon of this podcast, even though he's kind of a dick and kind of mean. Yeah, I'm talking about you, buddy. But I think it's good to have a mascot. What are you doing? What's going on? Okay. All right.
I feel like he's about to kill something.
He might kill one of us. No, I'm just kidding. I do love Lance. But on a serious note, I got to give a big old shout out to Nick Lyons and Alex Chang, two of my other buddies here in Peoria. Don't listen to the podcast at all. Nick did like the first 2 or 3. Pretty sure he doesn't still listen. But if you do, Nick, please tell me if you do, because I'm not sure. But no, they've been super fun to like hang out with here in Peoria and been like good friends. So like I have a lot of appreciation for them. I think the point of this was to talk about people that watch the podcast and appreciate, but now we're just talking about people we appreciate in life, even though they're probably not going to watch it or see it.
I don't think there's anything wrong in that.
No, I don't think there's anything wrong with it, but I just think that was what I was going for. But not saying that that's a bad thing, but
Yeah.
I'd actually like to thank Stefan.
Oh, yeah.
Good
for
old,
sure.
basically, not necessarily roommates, but the neighbor of Highland. When I was last in, I got more people to thank. When we get to the group of gang that we got to hang out with last time I was in Minnesota. But Stefan has been supporting the podcast for a while, and we had a lovely conversation when I was in Minnesota, and I really got to know him better, and I became very fond of Stefan. So, Stefan, huge shout out to you, buddy. Thanks for all the support. And looking forward to seeing you again.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have you on next time.
I think he said that he would be willing, and I think it'd be super fun.
I think it'd be super fun.
Like
And this in no way is supposed to be offensive. He has a very strong French accent. And when I say strong, it is a strong, proud French accent. So it might be hard for people to kind of understand it because sometimes I struggled with it.
Well,
but Stefan, don't you stop talking. I freaking love you, buddy.
He speaks very quickly too.
Yeah.
So, like his English, his vocabulary, and the way that he puts things together is actually probably more like a higher level than my own. Like he knows probably more words and things, but yeah, the way like he speaks sometimes very quickly and but
and he follows it up with and you're like, yeah,
yeah,
sure.
But no, he's I love talking with Stefan. He's a very, very smart dude, a lot of world experience, and yeah, he just has some really unique perspectives and
he listens. He's a good listener.
Yeah. And he's just a lot of fun. He's just a lot of fun to be around for sure. So yeah, huge shout out to Stefan. Yeah. And I just thank God for good neighbors, right? Like having good neighbors means everything. Like when you're in a apartment community, oh man, like bad neighbors. Oof, yeah. So I appreciate the heck out of having good neighbors on both sides of me. So yeah, my next two are sisters, and they are close to Erin Crickler status. Erin Crickler Schaefer. I guess her name is Erin Schaefer, but they're close. They're close, but I know them as Betsy and Ann Robertson. That's the name that I grew up with, and
I know them as Betsy and Ann.
Yeah, Betsy. Well, let's all know them as Betsy and Ann, right? But I think Betsy is in my class, and she was a classmate of mine. Ann, I think that I met when I was in high school. I'm not quite sure, but I did just meet her over the holidays, and she's something of a super fan. Like I don't know if it's correct to actually call her a super fan, but she is way more up to date on the podcast than Betsy. And it kind of freaked me out because we went out to dinner and I got to meet Ann, and she was telling me things that I did not even know about myself. I was like, she's like, yeah, I know this, and then this happened, and you did this, and then remember in high school you did this, and I was like, what? What the heck? Where is all this coming from? And she's like, all of this is in the podcast. I'm like, what? I said all those things? And she's like, yeah, man. And I was like, you remember all that stuff? And she's like, oh, yeah. I know a lot more about you. And I'm like, oh, my God, what the heck have I shared here? What have I done? But yeah, they have been super supportive and sent in, one of the messages of 2024. She really kind of knocked it out of the park.
I mean, she blew my mind. It was Rowan Takes on Dating. And in part of the episode, I talk about what is my game with the ladies? And I'm like, I'm just a goofy, fun guy. And she was like, Rowan, your game is your vulnerability and intensity. And I was like,
yeah,
okay, and I never thought of it that way. Okay.
Yeah. I think you've adopted that too.
I don't know. I have. It's my new thing. That's what I go by. Yeah. So, but it's just nice to feel heard and seen. And I feel like both of those two have done an amazing job of really listening to the podcast, kind of understanding where we're coming from, and overall just supporting it and wanting to hear more.
Well, and I got to give a huge shout out to Betsy because she's one of the 3 people in the world. I think there's one person in America, one person in India, and then one person in the Philippines or Nigeria. It kind of alternates weekly.
Okay.
That read the posts. Oh. And so Betsy always reads, and then she always makes a comment. And I kind of got in trouble because 2 weeks I didn't respond. And so she kind of was like, what the heck, man? I'm writing all these responses. I read your stupid blog posts and you don't even respond. I'm like, oh, yeah, I apologize. I thought that I only hadn't responded to 1 week. So that's my defense. But yeah, legitimately did not respond to 2 of her posts. And so I feel badly about that. But Yeah, somebody that actually takes the time and reads them and actually thinks about them and
Yeah.
writes really thought provoking and kind of like more intense responses than the actual post itself. And it's just like, dang, like
Yeah.
girl takes it seriously.
Yeah.
So that's a huge thanks for that. Just because like I kind of joke like, oh, I just put it up for fun, whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
honestly, when nobody reads it, you're just kind of like kind of like it's a little bit sad for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, a huge shout out to Betsy. I really do appreciate that.
Yeah.
for
I
sure.
got to give a little shout out to Zoe from Minnesota. Not sure if she still listens or has listened, but she's been super supportive of me and my life and what I've done, and still checks in. And it's very rare that you have people that after moving this far away still check in from Minnesota, because I didn't really expect it. Because I don't know, like I left Minnesota pretty quickly, and I was under the impression like Highland was going to be the only guy or person that I still talk to from Minnesota. But it was very nice of her to keep in touch, and got a lot of love out there for her.
Yeah. No, I think I just think that emphasizes how important the connections really are because like when we talk about like when I in the first episode of this year of 2025, I said that my goal is to kind of lift other people up and just help other people as much as possible.
Yeah.
And I think I don't think people realize sometimes how much just checking in and just a little bit of recognition, like, hey, I've been thinking about you. I actually care about you. What's going on? How you doing? Like, I'm thinking of you.
Yeah.
How much that can actually make the world a difference for people, right? Like, that's extremely important. But also, I think in the world today, because we're so self-centered and we're so involved in our own little worlds, that we don't, even if we do think of others, we don't take the time to actually reach out
Yeah.
and express that. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think that's huge.
Okay. You're up, buddy. You got to thank someone.
Oh, I do? Oh, I thought, didn't I just talk?
You talked, but I was the last person to thank someone.
Oh,
I mean, I got people if you want.
yeah.
Somebody said, "You're up, buddy." Your face just went blank. Like, what?
Yeah, my mind went blank as well. I think that I have done a good job in thanking everyone that supported me and us in the podcast. Deepu. Well, Deepu won't even. He's
supportive. He doesn't watch though. Him and Promote are very they're all supportive, but they don't watch the damn thing.
no. They are all like, why would I pay attention to you talking your nonsense? I hear you talking your nonsense all day long. No, those guys. I will say my friend group. The Indians, everybody. I mean, Jeffrey, Stevo, Deepu, Pramod, Satya, Sid, Stefan, all like Ashish, all just I have a really, really incredible friend group, and they have not necessarily supported the podcast, but they have been incredibly supportive of me.
No.
And
they've also really welcomed me into the friend group as well, which I find super endearing. Because I'm a younger guy, I'm 26. These guys are all just so old.
45 to 50.
No, but 45 to 50. And I know Highland and I started off working together, and he kind of accepted me in. But I was always like, okay, I know we have a relationship.
Eventually. Not
Eventually.
right away.
I worked my way under this guy's skin. But I didn't know if I would be accepted by kind of these guys. I'm a newcomer and whatnot, so they might not. But they welcome me with open arms, and every time I see them, it's good, and it's always just a blast, and I really enjoy myself.
Well, also I man, like a thank you is so. This is kind of fun because it really kind of makes you think about, hey, who's important in your life. But their wives, I don't think people really recognize as much, but what like I'm just gonna give a general shout out to Indian wives in general. I don't know if this is true or not,
Okay.
but the wives do a ton for their husbands, like just as far as cooking and house management and like children and things like that. But the like Deepu's wife, Danya, um, Pramod's wife, Nikki, like the ladies behind my friends are incredible people and have done a lot for me personally. They've cooked and they've welcomed me and they've taken care of me and just done things for me that weren't necessary or weren't expected and super appreciated and just Priya and Raj, I gotta say thank you to them too. Like they've been an incredible couple, very influential. Oh man, yeah, this could go on and on. Like all of a sudden you're just like people like I'm gonna feel badly like if somebody calls me up and like, hey man,
I listen to your every podcast episode, and you didn't thank me.
yeah, like I'll feel really badly, but I yeah, if by chance I don't mention you and you have been an influence in my life, I'm sincerely sorry. This is actually a little bit intimidating and a little bit hard to do thinking on the spot like who to everybody to thank, but yeah, it if if you have been a part of my life, I hope that I have expressed my gratitude at some point and shown you that you have been a positive influence, and I do appreciate you because I've had some amazing people in my life, and oh, oh my God, yeah, there's so many people. Meg Vanderzanden, she's my old French teacher. She has been really supportive recently. Um, oh man, yeah, so many people. Okay, now I'm going off. Deanne Brown, Casey Brown, Bailey Brown. Oh man, so many people. Yeah, I just. Oh, this was unfair. There's now I feel badly because I know that there's going to be people that I don't mention that I really really should. But yeah, I just feel so lucky and I feel really blessed, and I hope that people do realize how how much you have done for me in my life and how much it actually means to me because there have been some amazing people that have done some amazing things for me and I would not be here without the oh Daniel Grandoni, all of the Grandonis. Oh my God. Okay. I'm gonna leave it at that. But I just oh yeah. I don't know if this was an episode that we should have ever started because I just think there's so many people in this world now that I just I owe a lot to, and I'll never be able to repay properly. But um, yeah, in some way, I just hope that I have shown you in some way how much I appreciate you.
Yeah. I'll second that, and I'll just go out on a limb and say, like, I am forgetting people. Like, it is apparent. There are a lot of people that have been very influential in my life, and it's hard to remember all of you guys on the spot. We probably should have written down a list before we did this. But I also got to say, we started us off talking about my mom or my dad. A huge shout out to my mom. The woman that
Yeah,
birthed me, raised me. Well, dad raised me as well. But also to my grandparents. They've been really involved in my life recently, specifically my grandmom. She's been very supportive and whatnot. We've been going on a lot of fun little outings and whatnot here and there, and I'll walk over and see her. And yeah, no, there's a lot of people that I'm not I am missing. But I hopefully, if you do watch the podcast, um, please reach out and let me know so I can give you the proper thanks that you deserve.
yeah,
Because we all get wrapped up in our own little stuff, and part of this year is we want to connect. So I think we want to say thank you to more people and really connect with them,
yeah.
and let us know.
And not just connecting in this way. Like I think this is a pretty minimal way
Yeah.
to actually connect. Like this is the least that we can
Yeah.
do, right? Like I think that when we say connect, I mean in a real like getting together,
Yeah.
going out for some food, some drinks, whatever.
Also, got to give a shout out real quick to Justin from when we did construction building the fences, commented on the first
man.
video out. Got a
Yeah.
lot of love for you, Justin. We miss you, buddy.
Oh man, definitely. And then I just I think I'm going to repeat a lot of things, but I just want to bring it back to Kurt Hanold, which is Rowan's dad, and just say happy birthday to you. I really do hope you have a good birthday. You deserve it. 2024 was rough. The beginning of 2025 might be presenting some obstacles, some difficulties as well. But I just want to personally say that I value you. I think the amount of insight and knowledge that you have to offer this world, the amount of insight and knowledge that you have offered to me personally has been extremely informative. And I hope that you take the chance to share that with other people. And then I'm going to make one last plug and just say, I know that right now you're saying absolutely no way am I ever stepping on that podcast. But if you ever get to the point where you, like me, just are like, let's just go see what happens, I would freaking love it, buddy. That would be one of the greatest gifts that you could ever give to me. And I know that I probably owe you more than you owe me. But man, I think you are a very, very intelligent dude and have a lot to offer. And I would love to sit here and kind of hear some of the insights for you for 45 to 50 minutes.
I'd be pretty worried about that episode for me. There might be a lot of more revealed about me than I would like revealed. But I'd appreciate
how
it being
much
on.
more could be revealed on this.
So much more.
On this.
So much more. From his perspective, oh my gosh, come on. I mean, I talk about like the faults. He just bring out the embarrassing, stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh, that would make it even better.
Yeah.
That should just be motivation for you, buddy.
Yeah, just to expose me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Thank you, Dad. We love you. Happy birthday. And again, thank you to all the people that we listed, and the people that we were not able to list. We still got a lot of love for you. And, in this year, let's connect more. Let's make sure we share our appreciation for each other.
And just one last kind of appreciation, I guess. Like the amount of viewers in this last month on the YouTube channel, and I don't know if it's just YouTube promoting it more or whatever the deal is, right? Like maybe it's just people tuning in for a minute and then tuning out, who knows? Yeah. But like if there are lots of other people that are listening, because we went from like 30 views on YouTube to like 140, 150, whatever it is. And if those are real views and people are actually tuning in and paying attention, huge shout out to you guys. Because that, I don't know, makes a difference to me.
Yeah.
I look at those numbers and I'm just like, oh, what?
Yeah.
Wow.
It gets us excited. So yeah, thank you to any new viewers that have found this in the year 2025 or year 2026. I don't even know what year it is. And if you found it, we appreciate it. Got a lot of love for you. And, we're going to keep doing this thing. And new episodes every Monday. You can catch us at NopeOpePod@gmail.com if you ever want to reach out to us. Available on Spotify, anywhere you can find podcasts, as well as YouTube with the video components. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. And we'll see you in the next one.
Oh, one last thing.
And never mind. What?
Just kidding. A huge shout out. You know who we forgot? No idea?
Nope.
Come on, man. Huge shout out. Maybe the biggest shout out possible. Nothing?
I got nothing.
Thanks, Ron.
Thanks, Highland.
Yeah. All right. That's it.
All right. See you guys.
Okay. Yeah. this is just an add-on. I feel really badly that I forgot this person to thank, because she has been a huge force, and she's actually been a little bit too forceful sometimes, because we were hanging out one day and we were talking to her friend and she's like, yeah, Highland's a podcaster. And I just kind of shriveled up and shrank and I was like, oh my God, what? Who? But she has been awesome, and she has been a huge positive just constantly positive and saying, Hyland, you're doing really good things, and appreciative of what Ron and I do. And I just want to make sure that I specifically send out a huge thank you to Josie Hoffman, because she, not only is she a super radical person, just awesome in every single way, she's amazing at what she does. She's a social worker also. And she's a person that I go to all the time for just advice in that arena. But she's also just awesome as a person and just as a friend. And just a huge, huge, huge thank you to Josie. So